Hello, welcome to Taku Katsu. My name is Cori,
I'm Patrick.
And here's Vicky.
and this is episode 2. This week we are going to talk about redo of Healer, or
Kaifuku Chutsushi no Yarionashi.
yeah, what she said. So redo of Healer is we'll call it an interesting show. The basic idea of this show is it's about a dude who's really good at healing and more. So Otaku Katsu is about Patrick, myself, and Vicky discussing the first episode of a show, new or old, and giving our basic idea of what we like about it, what we don't like about it, and if we would keep watching. So Redo of Healer is our show for this week, but Vicky missed out last week, subbed in for Zane.
I did.
So last week was Jujutsu Kaisen, as I called it, Yu Naruto. Vicky, give us your rundown.
Was super enjoyable because it has what I tend to look for in anime: great art style, great fighting, and great protagonists who also have their own antagonists within them. So it's getting all my cornerstones of what makes good viewing.
Right. What didn't you like about it?
I didn't. You know what? What I did not like is that the grandpa. Sorry for spoilers if no one's seen it, but the grandpa is in the opening,
episode,
and he is immediately dead. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I thought, oh, maybe there's tailoring each opening to what goes on in the episode. But no, they just build you up with that. Oh, here's a grandson and his grandpa, and they're gonna have this great talks and stuff. And no, they just break your heart with it.
You got to establish his motivation.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, I agree. That was pretty sad. I mean, he seemed like a pretty cool grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if that was my grandpa, I don't know. If I felt like he was always cool, but he was just kind of rough around the edges, all right, fine. But otherwise, if he's always just kind of like mean all the time,
yeah,
like that's my mean grandpa. He's fine.
Crotchety old man.
I just realized that he is a tsundere grandpa.
Tsundere grandpa.
Yes,
that's never been done before, right?
Tsundere oji-san.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, so tsundere grandpa, but then where's like tsundere kids of grandpa? Like where are the kids? Where's his parents? Where's Yuji's dad and mom? Where's the grandma though? Because clearly tsundere worked for grandpa.
Probably
That's
all
the
dead.
mystery, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. All right, so that was. So, would you continue watching Jujutsu Kaisen?
Absolutely, I could not stop it. I let it continue into the next episode, and I had to find a good stopping point because I was like, "This is excellent." Yu Naruto is very accurate. With the side of TikTok is going to be all over Sukuna.
Yeah, I saw your TikTok about that. I'm glad that you enjoyed that.
Yes. I saw the TikTok before I saw the show, and it definitely influenced my want to continue the show.
Okay, give me some more of that. Explain, please.
Just when a show captures the imagination of the artist, and I won't even get into the fanfic, but the artist.
Yeah, that's what I
thought. It's just art making art. It just transcends the original media. And
art making art on this next one.
I think this episode really is a clear, a pure upgrade of what art can do. Let's say.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to redo of Healer then. Patrick.
This one.
I'm gonna start with Patrick, please. Yeah, Patrick. Let's hear it.
So one second in, once you click the play button, it's going down. That's all I gotta say. Like you clearly see what you're gonna get. The show has a kind of a dark tone to it. It's probably gonna be. I mean, I hope there's a lot of comedy into it. Otherwise, if it's just if this is just the tone that sets you for a dark comedy, man, there's a lot of places that it can go. But as for the first episode, it's kind of it's very tame for the first episode.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I personally think for the first episode of the show, you kind of see what's going down in the first seconds, but it's pretty tame until there's that one scene with the maids. But I mean, even
I
then,
think we'll have a whole separate section to talk about the maids.
Yeah, so we could talk about that in another part. We're gonna put the disclaimer here.
So describe the first 10 seconds of the show, since we've already hinted at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first 10 seconds of the show is you're greeted with a lady who is clearly not wearing enough clothes, and it gives you the backstory of the character. What's the main? Keiyaru, who is a magnificent healer, but he basically redoes his whole past.
He feels the suffering of the people he heals.
Yeah, so basically, he feels the suffering of the people he heals, and during the first part of the story, he's able to get this Philosopher's Stone and able to heal it apparently, and kind of heal the world, healing the world, redoing the effects of this, and it kind of he resets back. But the idea is he's able to know to keep all of his memories in the process, and then he's planning his revenge plot for the story. And you basically follow this character who just wants to enact revenge on everyone who has done wrong, and particularly Flare, which is this princess. He really has
the busty princess, Flare.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, so I was kind of hinting at in the first, as soon as you press play, it's like, warning, this is yes. Immediately, I'm like, oh, okay. And then the second image you see is probably her. I don't recall because I didn't rewatch the episode, but it's probably Flare with the middle of her clothes just kind of not on there anymore, ripped open or some crazy nonsense. And then it just moves on to the rest of the show. So
it serves as a great intro.
Yeah. Yeah. What didn't you like about it?
That's a loaded question.
I'm asking Patrick. I'll get back to you.
No, I know.
So yeah. So I guess the first point, what I do like about it, I mean, let's be real. I'm interested in about the plot, his revenge story. I want to know what happened to him. I want to know how is he going to do his revenge. I just want to see the story of it because it's an interesting take on healing and that ability. It's like healing in the dark. It's so interesting to me to see that being played out in that way. But yes, it's gonna get dark and it's gonna be messed up, and I think I'm kind of down for that as a degenerate. I kind of want to see what happens. So that's what I like about it.
So you're saying you're thinking about watching episode 2 is what you're saying?
He admits it.
No. See, you're jumping ahead. I would not watch this personally, but I would definitely wiki it. I would definitely wiki it.
Even as a degenerate, you would not watch it? Wow.
No, I would not watch it because let's go to it. Kind of ties to my second point is what I hate about it is, just it's fan service for the sake of fan service. So I understand what the show is trying to do. It's the same old fantasy setting, but this fan service you take on it. But here's the thing. If you wanted to watch something like that, this is a 9 out of 10 on the Ecchi Scale. But I wanted to watch at least a 9 out of 10. But if I wanted to watch a 10 out of 10 on the Ecchi Scale, I would just go watch that. That's just my preference. Why are you trying to beat around the bush if you just wanted to watch the show? That's just me. That's my philosophy in it. So
yeah, it is.
I would not watch
it. Okay, fair. All right, cool.
Please, Vicky, respond to my.
Yeah. All right, Vicky, as the resident female, could you please give us your opinions on this very interesting show?
So, what I like about it is that it's not an isekai. This is the world that they are in. This is just normal. This is possible magic, fantasy. It's just all built in. There's no,
Right. There's no game.
Very true.
There's no guy that couldn't survive like well in the real world and appears in this world and suddenly is like the best. No, this is just a kid that wanted to be a hero. Happened to be taken advantage of very badly by some people.
Oh, yeah.
And like people that have been hurt, he wants his revenge, and you get to see him take it from the beginning. You get to see how, I'm assuming in later episodes, like how the path to redoing the world came to be. And I can't fault him. His motivations really can't. Flare can get bit. So
she can get hit by truck ruined too.
She could get ruined in the next episode.
Oh my god! Yeah. The the next title.
Apparently, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I forgot what was the title for the next episode because it was apparently bad.
The healer ruins Flare or ruins the princess.
Yeah. That doesn't have a good tone to it at all.
Yeah, it's very much the first 10 seconds of the show. For me, I like the intricacies of the plot. Not necessarily.
It's true. I agree. I want Kiara to win. I am rooting for him 100%.
Exactly.
I want him to win so bad.
He's a protagonist, but he's not a good guy.
He's an antagonistic protagonist.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call him an anti-hero. He might be an anti-hero.
He's just a guy.
He's not really an anti-hero. Not yet. We'll see.
Well,
he could be though. I could see it.
He's out for himself. He's not out to save people in a non-hero way.
Now. Well, we'll see. Anyway, keep going.
He's in it for himself. I would myself rate this a 7 or 8 on the Ecchi scale.
Okay.
Just from
interesting.
We'll discuss the Ecchi scale very soon. But yeah, go ahead.
But from what I have seen, and can I just mention there are 3 versions of this show.
That's part of why we're going to talk about the Ecchi scale.
Yeah, I have watched it twice. I've watched 2 different versions, and I would I would continue watching the series myself. Okay. I'm not saying it's made for like every kind of girl that watches anime, but the girls that are like me, you're gonna watch it.
Okay, so here's a question. I
just realized
it. From your personal opinion, because obviously you don't represent everyone, but break it down. Like what females who watch anime and understand the ridiculousness that comes with it, who would you recommend this to, and who would you say like, don't do this?
I would recommend this to the quiet ones.
Hold on, Vicky. Let me just as the male degenerate here. I can speak for all women. Just kidding. But this show, I just realized that it might get into some. I mean, it could be hinted in like some BDSM or torture. I mean, I want to say torture, but I mean like the guy is going to definitely take revenge and. What has happened to him. There were some pretty graphic scenes of him being beaten and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's pretty brutal. And I'm thinking to myself, it might foreshadow to what might happen in the future with him and these particular people. So I don't know.
Let me put it like this, though. If it gets as bad as Goblin Slayer, I'm out.
Right. Oh, episode 1. That's definitely, yeah.
Like, I know a lot of people have their opinions about Goblin Slayer, and my opinion is no.
I feel I have to watch Goblin Slayer now just to have the reference.
Nope. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it.
I don't even recommend episode 1.
I've seen people talk about Goblin Slayer. I've read about Goblin Slayer. I've looked at YouTube videos about Goblin Slayer. I will not watch Goblin Slayer. For
the people that would happily watch Goblin Slayer but feel too afraid to recommend it, I will watch it for you. I'm here for them.
Here's your sideways recommendation. If you like Goblin Slayer, this won't bother you at all.
Exactly. This is
Hey.
again. This is tame. This is pretty tame.
By comparison to Goblin Slayer.
Well, yeah. Anything.
True. I think this episode is the tamest it's gonna get.
Yes,
Oh,
I
man.
agree.
That's probably true.
It can only go up from here.
Cori, what are your thoughts on redo of Healer?
Yeah, no, I'm ready now. Okay, so I am all about the concept. This was my choice of show. I picked this one on purpose, and then immediately was like, wait, this might be worse than I thought.
Yeah.
I love the idea. The concept is great. I'm all for it. Like, he's a healer. He's going to undo it so he can redo it better. I'm all about it. I love Shield Hero. This guy is just basically Shield Hero, but not as good.
Mm-hmm.
I think the art is better than like terrible. Like, it's not great, but it's not bad either. So it's fine. Like, it's like, yeah, this is good enough to get my 12 episodes in, because I feel like this is 12 episodes. I don't feel like this is like, 50
three seasons in a movie.
Oh geez.
Yeah.
God forbid there is 50 plus episodes of this.
I really do feel like this is a 12, maybe 24, but probably a 12 episode series, and you're done, and there will be no sequels. It's done. Now, if it's like secretly popular, then maybe, I don't know. Because I know this is based on is it a light novel? I don't remember.
There's a manga. And from what I hear, it is tamer than the manga so far.
For now.
Right.
So I like the concept. I like the idea of a person getting not revenge in the straightforward sense, but making it right. Like, I like Shield Hero for making it right, not for the revenge side of it. Because I think that very easily, even in Shield Hero, can get it can go places I don't want it to go. Which gets to what I don't like, which is predatory healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he called it.
Yeah.
He steals, from what I understand, he steals their experience by copulating with them. That's
not quite what was happening.
Something it's somewhere between consent and not consent is what I'm getting at. Because there's clearly
there's something there.
They're clearly doing it with him to get something out of it, and that's like, he understands it at this point. Yeah, you were saying?
Well, shall we just talk about the maids?
All right.
Let's jump in.
What version did you guys see?
I watched the one on VRV, so it was edited, or what's the word I'm looking for? Censored.
Okay.
Yes. I saw the naughty version, and it honestly it wasn't that bad. I mean, in comparison, I mean, it's just pretty much they show what, but like there's no genitalia. That's the main part.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what sets it apart from the 10 out of 10.
Yeah, which is why I'm like, it's an 8 tops.
Well, so because you have those shows like did I watch it? I think I watched one episode of Peter Grill, that show from last season, where like literally all the women in the show except for the one main female character is trying to jump the main character, and then he does have sex with them on a regular basis. Like, you get those shows where like nipples are poking through all the clothes all the time. And from what I remember from this show, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, this is not gratuitous fan service. I feel the nudity and situations that did happen were towards the plot. You know what I mean?
Sure, they were plot relevant in this. Okay, and I might be saying something messed up here, but they were plot relevant in the same way that it was in Matrix 2, where like Trinity and Neo are doing it, and then there's a rave outside. Like, they're celebrating, so they did the thing. Otherwise, did it do anything? No, it didn't. And I got to watch that movie with my brothers and my mother, so that wasn't
wow.
Right. Yeah. I think, to Vicky's point, they were using that scene as like, oh, this is what his ability can do. Like, it's just an excuse for him to explain his ability. But I'm trying to wonder how much of that. I mean, I'm sure they're going to use a lot of exploit that, like, oh, this is why he needs to do this, or this is why we need to show this. so we can talk about his ability to, gain experience through,
Also, it
gain
was
experience.
it was very relevant to show how heroes are treated as opposed to non-heroes. Like the maids
That's a good point.
literally just slept with him because they're like, he's a hero. Their status is elevated in having slept with him. And
what I didn't understand was because it was predatory healing, which meant he stole experience from them.
well,
But the way you said it implied that they got experience from having sex with a hero. It was very
yes,
confused. Like
yes.
at that point,
there's a lot of weird subtext that you could go with that.
Yeah, are they
So-
receiving the experience, quote unquote, from the
No.
hero?
No.
Okay.
So the way his healing works is, for those who will be watching the show, is when he heals someone, he basically lives through their life, and in living their life, kind of like the Matrix, where he goes under and he comes out knowing kung fu. My boy goes under, comes out knowing how to do the things the person he healed does. So he'd
Right.
be great in bed, because these maids took him to town all around that room.
Yeah. Yes, that is true.
Cori doesn't know what we're talking about, but me and Patrick, that chair ain't never going to be the same again.
I know. Yes, I know that scene. It's a tame scene. It's not that bad. It really isn't. It's again, for a show like this, it's just like they just need to do the censor just so they could post it online through legal channels, I guess. But again, it isn't that bad.
At this point,
Again,
I highly recommend that that if you can find the uncensored complete recovery version, you may as well watch it, because if you're in it, you go all the way in.
I mean, there's a fair point to say there. Of course, if you're legal age, yada yada yada. Anyway.
Yes.
So the other thing, so I thought predatory healing kind of came off as very abusive, right? Like he's doing something underhanded, but they're doing something underhanded to him. But two wrongs don't make a right. It's kind of odd. So I felt uncomfortable. And then the other thing I didn't really like was that the good guy gets powers so he can be an asshole. Like, I know it's revenge, and I get that, but I'm not a fan. That's just my opinion on that.
I agree to your point that two wrongs don't make a right, and that the maids definitely were wronging him first, and he started to wrong them back. But in him healing them, he wasn't stealing anything from them. He just was getting their experience to.
Which, again, if that's all it is, cool. I wish you didn't call it predatory healing. That sounds like a bad thing.
Right.
If he just said, I'm going to get some experience, we would all been like, yep, you are. And we would have moved on.
I don't know. I like the term. It explains exactly what kind of person he is. He was a good healer.
If he uses it in other contexts and he says it like it's a superpower, predatory healing, and he touches like a random person on the street. Again, no. Now he's just touching random strangers. Okay. Another thing, I didn't write this down. Basically, I am okay with the sword lady. She seemed like she's the only decent human being in the entire show.
Yeah, I think her name was
right. I mean,
Cori?
in the intro, in the intro, there seems like there's gonna be a good cast that follows him. So I'm assuming that it's hopefully it takes a good turn in the right direction. But he's obviously gonna have his harem. So I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think it's considered a harem, and I'm not liking the idea that he's somehow gonna. This thought occurred to me. He's trying to get this drug resistance because he knows what's gonna happen, and it's like, when is he gonna turn that around? Because again, it's a revenge story, so he's gonna use all the things against him on those people.
Oh, you mean when is he gonna make Flair
Drug
eat
people.
the mushrooms?
Drug the women. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I think every step he takes is towards Flair and the other assholes. Like the one dude literally was choking him out. I can't.
That was brutal. That was.
Yeah.
Let's just say that the animation on the eyes are spot on. Like they clearly know what they're doing.
Loving the animation style of capturing his loss of sanity, quite frankly, because it's a bit like in Tokyo Ghoul when Kaneki snaps. You know, it ain't easy to see, but you love to see it. You love to see it.
Yeah, I think I will actually watch another episode.
Right. I mean, I like I said, I probably won't watch it, but I'm definitely interested in seeing the story and like reading about it and kind of knowing like the plot twists and everything about. But I probably personally wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like it could easily go away, and I'm gonna be like, nah, I don't want to watch this anymore. But I really, really like the idea of a healer being the most powerful character. And so in the show, they specifically show the healer, or the healer explains to himself. Not a lot of, it's a lot of tell don't show, but anyway, that he's able to get these memories, learn from them, and then become more powerful because of it. So, despite the fact that it's basically repeated trauma from watching people get hurt and then healing them, he gets their skills. So he goes from being like completely incapable of doing anything to doing everything. And so that's a really cool idea. So
my boy straight up multi-class.
What was that?
He straight up became a multi-classer.
Yeah. I like it. I think it's a cool idea. I mentioned to who did I mention to? I mentioned to my brother that it's kind of like Demon King Daimyo, also pretty ecchi show, but the idea of the show is really cool. But the execution not as great because it's mostly an ecchi show. But man, good ideas.
Is this where you admit that you really like ecchi shows?
Oh, this is the part where I admit that there are a lot of ecchi shows that have cool premises and then they don't pay off.
Right. Like for this show, if there was none of that etchiness, or I mean, if the maid scene was not there and they just explained like he could do that, I would definitely watch the show.
That'd
But
be
the idea is that this shit would be amazing. This is where you give the studio or whoever is making it like a good budget and everything, but there's just the fact that it originates from this ecchi, type of material that they have to put it in for the fan service. But again, I really am. I'm also interested in the plot. I want to know about how things play out. Maybe his revenge story doesn't turn out the way it wants them to be. Maybe he starts doing good. Apparently, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of ways you could take the story, but this being the first episode, everything is up in the air. So I'm still interested, but again, it's fan service for the sake of fan service, and I'm like, it's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the maid scene wasn't the most ecchi part to me. The first 10 seconds were where you see Flair
really
laid out. Like, it's the promise of what's to come and how far he's willing to go to meet his goals that will be higher on the scale for me.
I'm surprised that the maid scene is definitely the high point of
there are things moving in the maid scene while the other one's like a still image. So I think the moving makes it more graphic in my head versus the first picture is like, oh, that's what this show is going to be about.
Maybe.
That's how I see it.
Yeah. Yep. As someone who's seen that, the other version,
the complete recovery.
As tame as it is, it's still that, right? It's still on that,
it's
part of the spectrum.
It's there, but it's not what you're there for.
Well, unless it is, and then you're going to be confused.
But it's all about the plot, right? It's about the plot. I watched the show for the plot.
Honestly, I feel like the plot at this point is just seeing Flair get ruined, which happens in the second episode, apparently.
Again, I do not like that language.
We don't like predatory killing. We don't like people getting ruined.
No.
We don't like goblins.
Oh,
man.
God.
We don't like bunnies.
Man.
Look.
We don't like drops.
Hey, we don't talk about this.
Right? We don't talk about
that.
I'm just saying, how many shows have you liked that have turned out opposite of how you thought they'd be? Too many.
Opposite, like completely 180 on me?
Well, you liked Goblin Slayer until it.
I didn't watch that, and I'm never gonna. But
yeah,
the ones that like completely like defied expectations, not a lot. But what was it called? Decadence. That pulled a 180 in like one episode, so that was interesting. Yeah, Bunny Drop. We don't talk about that, but that one definitely defied expectations, and there's a lot of them that just never lived up to their idea. Like again, Demon King Daimyo. That show could have been way better if they just would have focused on the cool parts and not the boob parts.
I think the show will be like that, but better. It'll focus on the cool parts, but the cool parts are him getting his revenge. Like, you just want to see her get her comeuppance.
Well, if we can average less than one, what is it called? Iago? What the damn face? Stupid face.
Okay.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
Yeah, if we can avoid that.
Not the big term.
Most of it, I'm okay. But if she does that, like in episode 3, I'm gonna have problems. I don't think I'll be able to watch the whole show.
You see, at that point, for me, again, if you're watching, like if you're just gonna watch just fan service for fan service, then that's cool. But I don't know if at that point you're just going to you're one point away from crossing that threshold to just full on
H.
Right. Interspecies reviewers.
Yeah, pretty much. Now that's all right.
So let's talk about the Ecchi Scale. We've been on here for about 25 minutes. Let's talk about the Ecchi Scale. So I've explained it to Vicky a little bit, but let's go through it. So we set up the Ecchi Scale, 1 through 10, right? 1 is like Digimon, like maybe not Pokemon. Digimon, nothing. There's basically nothing. Like you're looking for it at that point, right? You're looking for Ecchi because there's nothing there, right?
Yeah.
A 5 is like you're expecting at least one panty shot an episode, right? Something like Chobits, I think we said that was like a 4, right, Patrick?
Right, because it's like it's there, but it comes across the show every now and then.
Yeah, it's not consistent. It's like we have a cute episode, and then we have the one where she's like flirting around with a peep show on accident. Anyway, and then we get into the nitty gritty, anything above 5. So like you were saying, you felt like this was like a 7 or an 8 on the Ecchi Scale.
I mean, there were the maids, yeah, but it wasn't so much. Well, it was a bit ecchi, but it wasn't like ecchi.
Okay. You're familiar with interspecies reviewers, correct?
No.
You're not.
Oh my god. Okay,
Patrick,
don't watch that, and don't watch Goblin Slayer.
So wait, let me write this down. Interspecies
reviewers. Okay, this is what you don't watch. Interspecies reviewers, guys. Don't watch interspecies reviewers.
Or Goblin Slayer.
Do not watch those shows.
Okay.
But no, that's okay, so it's hard to explain if you haven't seen it, but that show is clearly it's a 9 out of 10 for like what has been shown, but you could find there are 10 out of 10 out of the Ecchi Scale versions, let's say.
Wait, you would put
that
for this show, you would put it at 9 and 10 for the uncensored?
Let me explain it like
interspecies,
this.
that one, I see.
Yes, interspecies, yes.
Interspecies Reviewers is a show where in a fantasy world where there are all kinds of monsters that all speak Japanese, they all meet at a tavern, and four guys, a number of gentlemen, they do reviews on brothels, and they animate it, and that was removed from all streaming websites because, all of the like Funimation, Crunchyroll places, because it was too much nudity and sex.
Yes, it is literally a show about brothels, and you can expect what that entails, and it slowly just becomes a kink anime. And if that makes sense, like for example, I mean, you can really tell like one time they go to harpies or they go to lamias or even the undead. So yeah, you can. That's what you can expect from that show.
Okay.
Still amazed that I'm still really amazed that they kind of lit that show and put on onto channels like Funimation. That still surprises me.
That is amazing because
So apparently the actual manga was not as explicit, and that's why they weren't expecting it.
Right. But again, like I said, artwork, really does create a great experience for certain areas of a human experience, senses. That you got voice acting,
Yup.
you got music, you got sound design, and that's where the Ecchi Scale kind of plays in that matter for my part. Is that if anime is at a 5, it's just kind of stills and nothing's really being like, it's just like a panning shot or here and there. But the higher you go on the scale,
right?
The higher you go on the scale, you got voice acting in, you got the faces, you got all these extra little tidbits that increase the factor of it because
that push it up.
Push it up. And then when you're at the 10 out of 10 scale, you're just pretty much watching H. That's just how it is. That's
right.
that.
So once you're at 10, the limits are above that. So we would say interspecies reviewer is a minimum of a 9, and it's really probably more of a 10.
Yeah. From the description, I would agree with that. And with that's why
this show.
Yeah, I would put it at a 7.
Okay, so what's another 7 for you?
Ecchi Tosen.
Ooh, that's not bad. Yeah.
Oh, I still say that Ecchi Tosen's pretty, especially later.
That's pretty high though.
Let me give you a short story.
I would put that at 7 to 8.
Let me give you a short story. I went to a convention. One of the English voice actors was for Vicky Tosen, and I was like, "Yeah, oh fuck, I shouldn't have said anything." That's my story. I tried to talk about Ecchi Tosen. I'm like, anything I say feels wrong. Never mind. That's an 8.
That's an 8.
No, because Ecchi Tosen, I would say 7 and a half.
Ecchi Tosen has because I don't want to confuse it with the other fighting anime, but there's Ecchi Tosen that has the ones with the Magatama, right?
The soul earrings,
the little gems, yeah, right. So and it has the chick with the eye patch.
Yep.
That show has like actual simulated like sex. Like it's not. They're like clothed, basically. Like they're dry.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I'm not recalling.
You don't remember recalling that? Well,
Vicky,
a short search on Vicky, a short search on Google will, like to disagree with you.
Right.
What I remember is as they fought, their clothes were strategically torn until only the barest bits were covered.
Yeah,
which is the minimum of a 7. And Ecchi Tosen gets worse.
I don't recall.
It is the art. It's the sound, like the moaning sound effects of them getting beaten up. It's the way that they are grabbing on each other a lot.
Okay.
It's the way that their lower body parts find themselves in close proximity to other lower bodies.
So fine, my scale is more generous than yours.
Yeah.
Yes. Look, that's Vicky. You've seen some stuff.
Yeah, I've seen.
You've seen some. You've been through the battlefield for a while.
Give us an 8.
You've been through war.
I've returned from war, and it's rougher out there than.
Give us an 8. What's a little bit above Vicky Tosen for you? If you could find anything above that.
No, I have to. Okay.
Give me. Let me ask you this.
I think it's called Wicked City.
I haven't seen it. Is that the movie?
City.
Not Dark City, not the live action. Wicked City, the anime movie, which I saw when I was really young.
Classic. Yes, it's like it's a very older one. This is an 8. Vicky, come on. Come on.
Okay, to be fair, it's been a very long time since I've seen it, but I saw it in my very formative years.
Let's do something that everyone who's been on the internet in the last 10 years knows about. And let me hear your number, because if it's not higher than 7, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Well,
High School of the Dead.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Oh,
but apparently I should, to kind of calibrate my scale.
No, you don't.
Right now, Vicky, right now, Google Images, High School of the Dead. We'll wait.
Okay. High School. Okay. I can see where you're going with this.
This is probably, 8, 9. I'm definitely on the 9 scale. Especially with some of the later episodes, it gets there.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I see the tub scene. 8.
Mm-hmm.
That's a solid 8, at least.
That's a solid 8. Thank you.
It's at least 8.
We got a ground floor for what an 8 is. And it's High School of the Dead.
Yeah.
I'd put that at 9. I see a butt, and there's a lot of.
Yeah, if High School of the Dead is an 8, this show, Voodoo Healer would be in the same category, I think. But High School of the Dead is probably more of a 9. So I think Voodoo Healer is more of an 8 in that sense.
Redo Healer is an 8 as long as nothing gets worse than what we've seen so far.
But that's not going to happen.
And we assume it's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse.
We assume it's going to get worse, so it's definitely a 9.
I can't wait for it to get worse, honestly.
Because here's the thing. If his maid behavior continues, it's going to get more explicit. That's a 10.
I'm not even basing this.
If it continues, it's at least an 8, right? But if it gets worse, it's a 10. If it happens to any main character, there's going to be sound effects, there's going to be faces, there's probably going to be some kind of substituted liquid, or at least sweat, and weird stuff like licking armpits. It's going to be crazy. It's going to get crazy.
I expect a beach episode with swimsuits. I expect more outfits for each character. I expect handcuffs and rope and other things of the like.
They're probably going to be rope. I can imagine rope.
Yeah.
They already have chains. That's going to be a factor.
I can say this. If we're going to consider the censored version as it is, an 8. Uncensored, it bumps up to a 9 immediately. Because once you see bits and bops in the context of sex, it's got to be a 9.
Bits and bops. I'm sorry. That's how I'm going to refer it now. Bits and bops.
It's got to be a 9. If I can see penis or nipple or vagina in the context of sex, it has to be a 9. Because we got plenty of like Ranma, right? Go back to one of my favorites, Ranma. Naked nipple showing Ranma, but it wasn't sexualized in the way that one would assume. And they didn't show that very long into the anime either. That was like the first season maybe. Versus like Ikitosen, where they are doing everything but showing the nipple.
Yeah.
Right.
Like every time there's a show with the shower scene, right? They're doing everything but that, unless they don't care, because they're like, we are on at 11:30 at night. This show's on at 11:30 at night in Japan. We want people to see nipple. That's what they're here for.
The unedited version's at 4 a.m. AX-T.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Okay. AXT. Got you, folks, for complete recovery.
If you're in Japan and you're listening to this for some reason and you haven't seen the show for some reason, thank you, Vicky.
Yep. Just covering all of where they can view this. And the third version is streaming only, which I think is maybe what we've seen.
Is that worse? Is the third version, is that the complete redo or recovery, whatever you call it?
No, the complete recovery is what shows at 4 a.m. There's a streaming version, which you and I have seen, Cori. And then there's the actual on TV, super censored version.
How do you get more censored than what we saw?
I know. Now I'm wondering what I saw.
I assume we were watching the super censored version.
I watched the uncensored version. I didn't know that there was a third version.
Yeah, the third version.
I knew there were 3 versions because I read all of this trying to figure out when the show would come out, but I didn't. I didn't look them up either. I was like, yeah, it's on VRV or it's on High Dive technically. I'll watch it. I'll see it. It won't be like something I'll go to jail for. It'll be great.
I don't think I want to spend too much time finding a censored version.
yeah. There are other things I could do with that time, like actual watching. Never mind. and that's my point of the show. That's my point of the show is if you wanted to watch that, you would just go watch that. I mean,
that's what I feel. That's why it's got 9 because it's almost what you want if that's what you're looking for.
I would say still, I will put this at a 7 for I put it at 8.
A 7? Come on.
All right, 8 for both censored and uncensored.
I can live with that.
Wait. And uncensored for a 7? Oh, come on, Vicky. That's uncensored version is a 9.
Basically, anytime Vicky gives you a score, just subtract.
Add 2 points. Add 2 points to that.
Add 1, and you'll have your normal scale.
Your true scale.
We need to do a mock-up of this. So just examples of what is the Ecchi Scale. So, but before we talk about that, we've been talking for around 40 minutes or so. Do we have a show we want to watch next week? Any suggestions?
I want to see that spider one.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay. Well, guess what? I did.
So I'm a spider.
So definitely watch episode 1 of I'm a Spider, So What? We'll watch it and we'll talk about it next week. There've already been 2 episodes released because I watched them already. But I'll definitely rewatch and put down some notes and we'll do that next week. Okay, so that's our next week. So, but for the Ecchi Scale, so 1, we're saying like Digimon. We're talking like Detective Conan or something, right? 2, 3, 4.
I'd put Digimon at 2.
I was gonna say like Pokemon is guaranteed at 2.
Angel Woman, some of the designs are pretty good in Digimon where that just scale would just bump up point or so.
I'm not a huge Digimon
and there was
fan, to be fair.
That sibling thing, or were they cousins? I can't remember.
All right, Vic. Okay. Vic. Let's not get into
restart. Number 1. Number 1 on the Ecchi Scale is Muppet Babies. There is nothing sexual about that. Now, number 2 is your like standard Japanese shonen whatever. You know, your and like I mean like base level, not Naruto, not like your top tier stuff. I'm talking Shaman King. I'm talking Food Fighters or whatever that show was. I can't remember. Pokemon, Digimon, all of that. You know, that's 2, right? So Jesse and James.
I would put Pokemon at 3 because Jesse and James.
All right, 3.
They had that beach scene.
All right, that's fine. I'll take it. I'm not going to argue between 1 and 5.
Okay, 4. Yeah,
when I say 4 is like
I think 4 is Chobits. I was gonna say 3 or 4 could have been Sailor Moonish.
I can live with that,
but I don't really.
I would say 4 is Sailor Moon because there's tons of dudes, and when we were all 13, we were like picking between our favorite Sailor Scouts. So I would definitely say 4.
Transform.
Yeah.
You know, and apparently
Transform nudity.
There was no colored nudity. There was no colored spectrum on them, and they were just flesh colored, but no bits and bobs. Right. I guess I'm gonna say that forever now.
Yep.
But so that's 4, and then 5 is like your harem show. So anything like your Love Hina, even though Love Hina is probably a 6, but like
Fruits Basket.
Ranma is definitely a 5.
Yeah.
Fruits Basket is a 5?
To be fair, I haven't seen it, but it is a harem.
Oh no, that is not.
You haven't seen Fruits
That is
Basket?
not a 5 at all.
No.
That's a wholesome show.
There are 2 different versions of Fruit Basket. Watch one of them.
It's wholesome? All right.
Yeah. It is. There's like no fan service of any kind other than maybe like looking at the dudes shirtless.
Or 4.
It's at most a 4. Yeah, it's probably a 3. And honestly, that's asking a lot to call that a 3. But it really is. Like I watch Fruits Basket with Rachel all the time. What was it? So we were on 5. So yeah, like your most tame harem anime are 5. So Oran High School Host Club.
That's a tough one. As a 5?
A 4. 4.
Probably 4.
Because not all of them are trying to get with Haruhi.
Right, but I'm saying like we're talking 5 is like the tamest harem, because most harems are more extreme.
The generic,
Muyo.
the generic harem.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like Tenchi Muyo is like a 6, right?
Yeah, that's a 6.
Yep, upping up a bit.
Yeah, yeah, that was my sexual awakening for anime, I think.
Yeah. That rabbit, right?
Like, oh, okay.
Never mind.
Space pirates are all right. Come down from over here, space pirate. Remember the scientist? I forget half their names.
Oh yeah.
He was like super old but didn't look old, and that was special when I was like 13 years old. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that.
She was that, yep.
Oh man. Yeah, so like your tame harems, right? Then you got your like it just gets worse from there. So what would you say is a 6, Vicky? I know, give me another example.
I'm trying to remember Outlaw Star. I'm trying to remember how
okay. There was a famous episode of Outlaw Star that was like they were naked at a hot spring, and you could see like Aisha Clan's nipples. I've watched Outlaw Star in the last year, so I remember this. But other than that, and then that whole episode, like, or at least half of that episode, they were like Master Roshi style pervert guys trying to see the other mages' nipples, basically. Most of Outlaw Star was probably a 5, but that episode definitely bumped it up a little bit.
Okay. Because I'm trying to remember any anime harems that I willingly watch, and I'm like,
Well, even non-harems, although obviously harems tend to be more ecchi by default.
Right. But yeah, 5 and 6 is just kind of like, I think Techimuyo is a good example, or maybe even Love Hina. It's just kind of like there's just more it's just more prominent. Like you said, like if there's a panty shot in each episode or something like that, then it's like, that's like,
if you get multiple that's when you're like 6. I think 6 is like, 5 is like, you get a little bit here and there, just like haha panties, and then 6 is like she's in her underwear in the bathroom.
Shower scenes, more gratuitous spa scenes, with onsens because they have that. And then 7 is apparently this show, We Do Healer, for Vicky.
I still say it.
I'd say it's probably an 8.
It's an 8.
Probably an 8.
No, I agreed. It's an 8.
Okay, so
but I think it's an 8 overall.
Let's nail down some 7s. Let's get some examples of some 7s.
7.
Let's see.
It just fell out of my head.
Okay. Well, 7s are going to be difficult off top, but I think the 8s are like
Konosuba.
Konosuba
would be.
Oh,
would be 7.
Oh, you know what? It is a 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have I made you proud, Cori, for what I have seen of Konosuba?
Because
I've accurately placed
Darkness makes it a 7, and so does Aqua. They are constantly just like, look at me, look at my short skirt, look at my shaky boobies.
And Megumin. Because when you have a small character in shows like that, and they look like they could be under, like, that's just automatic.
Thanks for saying the obvious. Keep going.
Yeah, it's just like
I don't know what you mean.
Just their
Vicky.
presence.
I don't know what you mean, Vicky.
I'm just.
She's 2,000 years old.
Oh my god! It does not matter.
She's fine.
It does not matter.
Megumin is cute and all, but it does streak a little lolly, even though she's not. But maybe she is. It's not. I'm not comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, like I haven't gotten far enough to be sure if she's going to be like included in the harem, but just her presence alone knocks it up.
Honestly, though, yeah, you're right. Konosuba is a great example of a 7. It's like all the female characters are sexualized in one way or shape or another. It's not like super overboard, but it's there. Like it's not hidden. Oh, another.
And the main character steals panties.
Oh yeah, that's right. He does. That's again good quality of a 7.
Good quality. Wait, there's one I think we're both thinking about is No Game No Life.
That's an 8 like minimum.
That's an 8, right? That's an 8. That's a good 8, right?
Only because of the relationship between the sister and the brother. That makes it an 8 immediately.
You don't know No Game No Life, Vicky?
It's on my watch list, but I never got around to watching it.
Oh my
But now
goodness.
I find I must.
It's
There's so
good.
many shows.
It's really good, but it does skew pretty ecchi though. It's definitely a very strong 7, if not a straight up 8, because of the brother-sister relationship.
Mhm.
And I would call it an
Mhm.
8 just because of how much it's like shiny pretty art, but lots of like sexualized female characters.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Oh, another 8 would be that one where the guy writes manga and it's like his sister
Oh
or
God,
stepsister
Arrow
that
Manga Sensei?
animates for it.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I haven't watched it, but I trust you.
Yes, I've seen
Yeah.
plenty of just random videos of it, and I can see that.
I was going to
That's a solid
mention
8.
Darling in the Franxx, and I was going to mention the one with the drill, which I can't remember all of a sudden.
Gurren Lagann?
Gurren
Oh,
Lagann.
Yeah.
Gurren Lagann.
You see, that's like a
What?
good. That's a wait.
But that's like a
is it an 8?
6 or a 7, right?
Yeah, that's a 6 or 7. Yeah, I don't think it's.
Yeah.
Okay, Kill la Kill.
Oh, Kill la Kill.
Ooh,
That's an 8.
7. What?
Yeah.
There's no sex in
There's
that.
no sex in it.
It's
That'd be
just-
a 9.
It's just scantily clad.
All the-
That's a 7.
Okay. All right.
All the time.
All the time. Look, there's a whole faction who's talking about being nude. Nudist beach is what they're called.
Nudist
Nudist
beach
beach.
is.
Okay.
Wait.
Let me rephrase it. It is a 7 until you realize most of the naked people are teenage girls.
No, they're not all naked.
Okay, almost naked.
Their battle gear
I would
is
say-
clearly just lingerie. I mean,
If yeah, something like that.
that's a 7-8. That's a tough one though, because it's all about the fighting. It's about the plot, right? That's what it really is about.
Look, how many times do I need to see a girl turn into a scissor wielding superhero and watch her butt and boobs jiggle before I feel guilty?
That's a self problem. That's a self problem called
it is.
shame.
If that's at least a 7, but
That
I
is at
want to
least a
bump it
7.
up to an 8, but it's at least a 7. It's at least a 7
I would say so.
because
I would only bump into an 8 for the premise that the teacher showed himself fully to the student when he was introducing nudist speech. Like, that would make it an 8. But there were lights coming out of his bits and bobs.
right. Well, that's why I wanted to be an 8. But anyway, it's a 7.5 at least. It's a 7 asking for an 8 is what that is. Good show though.
Yeah, there we go.
Good show.
Great show, amazing show.
Love Kill la Kill. Love it.
And then Gurren Lagann, we kind of settled on that as a 6, right?
I'd say that's
6 or
it's a
7.
6 or 7.
It's not
It's not,
it's not quite a 5, but it's not like panty shots all over the place. That's the thing. Like it's a difficult one because I almost want to call it a 5 because it's not that gratuitous, but what's her name? She's
The main
all
character
over that
though.
show. Yeah. She is all over that show. I mean, that's what she's
everywhere.
there for. No other character in that show, though. That's why I'm like, oh, it's kind of a 5.
6, if anything.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
But Darling in the Franxx, did either of you watch that?
I've seen clips. I think they do things that make it definitely an 8.
Yep.
But
So
I think that's a good point.
Oh.
Let me just explain Gurren Lagann on this extended long episode. So Darling in the Franxx. Darling in the Franxx is about teenagers who are basically built, grown to be fighter pilots. But the way that they're fighter pilots is you have to have a male-female pair who are connected to each other and emotionally in some way. Usually, anyway. So
Sounds great.
the
That sounds amazing.
problem with it is, one, the main female character in Darling in the Franxx everybody cares about is fully capable of being naked at different times. Definitely throws her sexuality around. But most importantly, this is what the show is about that makes it such a not a 5. The people in there have to basically look like they're having sex when they're operating their machines.
Wow.
Like
Yes.
the girl's always leaned over, butt in the air. Guy's always like right behind her, controlling her with controllers. Like it's really it's really like
it's a great show, guys.
It's so actually, solid 8.
The ending is kind of whatever. The ending's kind of whatever. It jumped a shark in the last like 8 episodes. Like it was a cool idea, but it fell apart. I would not recommend watching it unless you just love watching the blue-haired girl cry.
Wow.
So, yeah. And I'm always team blue-haired girl when it comes to anime. So, if there's no blue-haired girl, black-haired girl, one of those. But yeah. And then 9 is basically everything but sex, or sex, but it's like censored. And then 10 is hentai. So
straight up,
you're just watching straight.
Right. Yeah. You're watching cartoons do it, and you like that.
Yeah. And then guess what, guys? 11 is just actual, just 3D version of actual. Just
it's real life.
You break the barrier. It's just real life. You break the barrier, guys. Congratulations.
So
there is a difference.
So are you telling me that Bible Black is still lower than 11?
Bible Black would have to be 11 then.
That's a 10.
It's a 10.
10.
Now live action Bible Black, that would be 11.
Oh my god.
There we go.
Oh, all right. Well, with that being said, I think we've run out of all of our topics for today. Thank you for listening, whoever is out there listening.
Let's review.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's review what we were going to give our opinions on Video Healer. I like the show, but I will not continue to watch it, unfortunately.
I really liked it, and I will greedily continue to watch it, complete recovery style.
Oh man, I thought it had a really cool idea from the get-go. I will probably watch it until it gets to the point where I feel like it has rapey undertones.
You coward. If you're gonna walk on this mountain, you walk through it.
Finish it like you finished what we don't talk about.
Hey. Someday we will not talk about that, I'm sure. Yeah, so this is Taku Katsu. All right. I'm Cori.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Vicky.
And you have a wonderful day, and you eat some ramen.